And welcome to Vancouver, British Columbia, here in old Canada. We've got a great SFL matchup to kick off your day. Vancouver Legion here at home to take on the St. Louis Gladiators, a great matchup of two top 10 teams here in the Simulation Football League. Eric Vincent alongside Robert Garrett Jr. And Robert, this is going to be a good one here today as we get a look at the head-to-head matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, it looks to be an extremely good game today. The thing you really got to watch for, though, is you got to see if Johnny Pickler can get it going. So far in 2 games on the road this season, Pickler has yet to throw a passing touchdown. So you really got to watch. If he can start getting things going, getting it done, St. Louis has it going for him this week.
Pickler, the first overall pick in the SFL rookie draft, certainly doing a great job for the Gladiators to give them a good record, sort of keeping the ship righted so far. Nothing extraordinary from the rookie, but that's why they're rookies.
Yeah, Pickler sitting at the top of the quarterbacks, number 2 overall with the quarterback rating. As you said, done good for the Gladiators. Helped them out more than he's caused them trouble. So looking to continue that.
100%, as it looks like St. Louis will elect to kick the football off to start things off. Vancouver will receive. Alan Armadas and Tom Rahman are down there in the stats truck this afternoon for us today as we kick things off from Vancouver. Fielded inside the 10-yard line and bringing it up the field is Mark Lopez. He's already got 2 return touchdowns. He could possibly get another today, not on this particular kickoff, but a good return out to the 45-yard line. Great starting field position for the Legion.
Yeah, as you said, Mark Lopez already with 2 return touchdowns this season. St. Louis special teams has got to stay on track, got to keep him inside. He can't bounce it out and get the yards that he get.
So it's going to bring up a 1st and 10. 2 backs in the backfield as Tom Pepper leads the troops out onto the field. He's going to pass to start things off. Good protection, pocket collapsing, and he's going to be hit as he's thrown, and it falls incomplete. Good pressure coming up the middle from the defensive line.
Yeah, the defensive line of St. Louis doing something they've done all season and getting incredible pressure to start this game on Tom Pepper. They're going to do that all game, and the offensive line just has to overpower him.
Franco Sonati getting in there and applying the pressure and the hits. His first season here in St. Louis as he comes over from the San Francisco Sharks. Offset I formation this time for Pepper. He's going to hand it off to Pseudo Nakai, one of the more successful running backs in the SFL, and you see why. He's turning it off to Burners. 10-5, touchdown, Vancouver.
Yeah, the breakaway speed for Pseudo Nakai is just incredible, and you really got to see just a hint of it there as he's able to get that edge. And there's nobody that can catch up to him once he's at full speed.
No, that was just a very impressive run as we get another look here. And Robert, he was just following blockers the entire way. All it took was just one-on-one tackler there, and it just beat him with the speed.
And the person to get the final block that really set that speed off was fullback Delaney Nash, who is actually a Week 4 signee for the Vancouver Legion, so doing his job and helping Pseudo Nakai get that touchdown.
Ramon Rakowski lining up for the extra point here to make it a 7-0 lead. Good snap, good hold, and it is up and through. So 7-0 your score, and a quick drive there by Vancouver, capped off with that huge run by Pseudo Nakai. And he's been very, very active in the SFL as far as rushing yards are concerned. Just a spectacular running back. He's got over 650 yards on the ground.
Yeah, and he came into the day with 8 touchdowns as well. Also staying pretty involved in the receiving game with 27 receptions, 70 yards. So Pseudo Nakai really able to do everything, kind of a utility knife for this Legion offense.
And a good return for St. Louis as they will get their first crack at the football as Chase Earl brings it up the middle of the field. He has a return touchdown under his belt as well this season. So he will be a return man to watch out for. As we get a look at Johnny Pickler, the first overall pick in the SFL rookie draft come up to the line. He's going to start off under center. 3 wideouts to work with. He will throw to start things off. Crossing pattern over the middle, and that's caught. Good gain there, as that's his tight end, Cody Scott, for a gain of about 7.
Yeah, Cody Scott's really been one of the go-to guys for Pickler so far this season, being able to get it done in the air. And that's one thing I think you got to watch for altogether in this game is how the Bash brothers are going to match up against Cody Scott.
Pickler under center, going to hand it off to Diesel Dawson, who plows ahead for the first down as he gets across to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, if you give St. Louis a second or third and short, they're going to get there every time. Diesel Dawson, just a big power back at 6'2", 235, able to punch that couple yards in easily.
Offset I formation, Vancouver shuffling their defense around. Hand off again to Dawson, trying to find some room and cannot beat that one-on-one tackler. That was Mark Lopez coming in there. He's been a very good safety this season. He's got over 50 tackles to his credit within the first 5 games.
Yeah, Mark Lopez did exactly what he needed to. They're able to stop the momentum of Diesel Dawson, kind of stand him straight up, and they kind of had a stalemate there, able to get a little help off the backside to get him down.
2nd and 6, 3 wideouts for Pickler. Dawson in the backfield. Pickler to throw. Has plenty of time. Pressure's coming. Spins out of it, then spins right back into the defender. And he's going to go down. That's a sack by Kevin Brackett, as he was very persistent there and stuck with him.
Yeah, Brackett came into the game with 5.5 sacks, able to get yet another on the season. And Pickler just held that ball for way too long. You got to look to throw it out or even try to run for a few yards.
We'll see what he does here on 3rd and forever. Pocket collapsing again, airs it out into the middle of the field in coverage and incomplete. He was looking his wideout Nick Finch all 5 seasons here in St. Louis for him.
Yeah, that was a ball that I think Pickler waited just a little too long to throw personally. Finch had a little bit of room. He could have caught that ball had it been thrown a little earlier on that post route, but threw it a little too late, and Vancouver able to stop it.
So it brings up a punt here for St. Louis on their first possession after the drive stalls. No pressure coming from Vancouver, as the punt is away by Bo Zabrowski. And fair caught at the 45-yard line. So Vancouver will set up shop. Same spot that they started off the last drive, as Suter Nakai rushed for 55 yards, and that was a touchdown play for them.
Yeah, St. Louis defense really has to do a better job at keeping Suter Nakai at least contained. Get him on the inside and let all your guys rally to him from there.
Pepper will throw. He's going to throw towards the far sideline. Caught. What a bullet there by Tom Pepper, and threading the needle, getting the completion out to Rich Pratchard for his first catch of the ball game.
Yeah, that ball was thrown with an incredible amount of heat, and it was done very well, as Freeman Peltier was lurking right behind Rich Pratchard, ready to make a play on that ball, but didn't have the time as it was delivered so quick.
So the first down for Vancouver today. Only had 2 plays on the last drive, one of them being that huge touchdown run by Nakai. We'll see if he gets involved on this drive. Instead, he's going to throw a pick. Pepper was looking all the way in the middle of the field, and I'm not sure what he saw, but Chuck Diesel said, "Thank you, I'll take that."
Yeah, first interception of the season for Chuck Diesel, and really just a poorly thrown ball. And, it's hard to get a ball fed in when you're in tight coverage like that, but to throw it into triple coverage the way he did was just kind of careless at early stages of this game.
So it gives St. Louis an opportunity here. Pickler in the gun. He's going to throw quickly over towards the far sideline, and that's caught. Somehow stayed in bounds, as well as Sean Harrelson in his first season coming over from the Charleston Predators.
Yeah, and Harrelson actually losing a few yards on that catch. At first, it looked like he might head out of bounds at about 2nd and 5 rather than 7, but the way Pickler threw that ball, he kind of had to lean backwards and stumbled a little bit before finally making the catch and getting out where it was.
Yeah, it was a little bit curious for sure. Get a look at the offensive starters here real quickly. Diesel Dawson and Johnny Pickler, we've seen them both. Trellis Blanton, the fullback, Sean Harrelson on that last catch, Nick Finch, Chase Earl, and Cody Scott, all weapons for Pickler to work with here as Harrelson can't reel that one in, and that falls incomplete. Third down coming up.
That's a catch you've got to make, especially as one of the go-to receivers on this St. Louis team. That's a routine play and should never be dropped like it was.
3rd and 7 now, 7:25 left to go here in the opening quarter. Pickler gonna swing it out to Diesel Dawson, has to make the one-on-one tackler miss, and he does. It turns on the afterburners there too. That was a lot of speed coming from Diesel coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, something that St. Louis is going to do all game is show their faith in Diesel Dawson. Even on 3rd and longs and things like that, you're going to see him sometimes get the run or even, as he did there, a swing pass. And it's just because he's got so much power once he gets going, it's really hard to stop him.
So it brings up a first down from the 38. Offset eye this time for Pickler. Pressure's coming. He's going to swing it out again to Diesel Dawson. And this time, Vancouver was ready for it as Mark Lopez makes a secure tackle there and drops him at the 40-yard line. We'll get a look at the Vancouver starting defense here. Kevin Brackett has already had a sack today. Rock Blazer, Leah Dama. Speaking of sacks, he's got 7 to his credit, all on the defensive line. Brian Craven and Doug Day, along with Devin King, all the linebacking core, the hit squad for this Legion defense. Kyler Murray, Dean Maddox, Ashley Rose Finch, Mark Lopez, and Lincoln Kingseed Senior, all round up the defensive backfield there as St. Louis gets another first down out to midfield.
Yeah, and you see it there, just the power that Diesel Dawson has, and even a little bit of the balance as he gets hit on the side and able to kind of bounce sideways and pick himself back up and get a couple extra yards before he eventually goes down.
Sixth play on the current drive. Pickler to throw. He's going to swing it out to Diesel again. And again, Vancouver ready for that play as Lincoln Kingseed Sr. comes up from his safety spot to make the tackle.
Yeah, the Gladiators trying to go to that swing pass many times in this drive, and it's really showing as Vancouver is able to kind of play the flats and fill in where it needs to be.
Pickler in the gun. Pressure's coming. He's going to go down. He had no chance to throw on that play, maybe about a half a second or so before the defense got there. Good play by Kevin Brackett coming up on the edge, and Malik Johnson, one of the extra linebackers.
Yeah, and that's the second time this game already that Johnny Pickler's been sacked. Something that this Gladiators offense has really struggled with all year. As coming into the game, Pickler has been sacked 19 times, so up to 21 now in this season.
And forgive me, that was Leah Dama and Malik Johnson getting in there for the sack as Diesel Dawson gets a swing pass coming out of the backfield on 3rd and forever and does what he can on 3rd down, but falls a little bit short. Good tackle made by Kingseed Sr., and St. Louis will have to punt once again.
Yeah, that's a ball that I think St. Louis has to try better to throw a little deep or, a little closer to the line they needed to gain. Able to hit that swing pass because Vancouver's defense was playing deeper, but in the end, not able to get what they needed there.
Ooh, Vancouver coming after the punt, almost got there. Fair catch called for and made by Mark Lopez at the Vancouver 18-yard line. So the worst starting field position here for the Legion to start things off. Let's get a quick look at their starting offensive weapons. Tom Pepper and Suda Nakai, we have seen them already today. Delaney Nash, the fullback. Brett Killian, Heath McDaniel Jr., and Rich Pratchard, the wide receivers. Phil Koss and Craig Hearn, the tight ends. Beth Horrell, Rylan, and Bobo Caudill, all on the offensive line there. 1st and 10 from the 18. Pepper. He's going to fire another one towards the far sideline, and that's caught. He put some sauce on that one. He's got the first down out to Rich Pratchard again.
Yeah, and Freeman Peltier, the one that makes the tackle there. These Gladiator defensive backs just kind of being out of position so far in this game. That's the second time that pass has been made, and both times they've had a guy nearby, but not quite set up where he should be.
And we'll get a look at that St. Louis defense. Todd Dubstat, Tony Roberto, Shane Masters, Franco Sonati, all on the defensive line. Mark Gronek, Brandon Van Nort, Chuck Diesel, all the linebackers. Evan Arthur, Drew Reilly, the corners. Freeman Peltier, Nathan Blake, Chad Nevels, and Colin Douglas round out the defensive backfield for the Gladiators as Brett Killian makes his first catch and close to another first down for Vancouver.
Yeah, and Brett Killian has been huge so far this season for the Vancouver Legion with 28 receptions, 607 yards coming into this game. So those little dink and dunk passes with him are gonna happen a lot.
Second and 2, under 4 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. Pepper to throw, another first down as he's got to complete out to Phil Koss, the Week 5 signing, coming off the couch and onto the field here.
Yeah, and yet again, the Gladiators defense just kind of not quite set up where they probably should be to defend that play.
Pepper from the gun this time. He's going to fire it again towards the far sideline, and that's been very popular for Pepper today. And Rich Pratchard with another catch.
And Freeman Peltier, again, the man covering Rich Pratchard. And once you see this play a few times, you'd think you might be a little ready for it, kind of predicting it. But so far, the Gladiators defense hasn't been able to do so. And Rich Pratchard's just made those cuts and made that play perfect.
And St. Louis is going to challenge the ruling on the field, double checking to make sure that the catch was made in bounds. And just going off of what I saw in real time, it looked like he made the catch here, Robert.
Yeah, I thought he got at least 1 foot down, maybe. And yeah, there are about 2 steps there before he turned out of bounds. I think that was a bad play to try to challenge and a little too early in this game to waste it.
And St. Louis will be charged a timeout as referee 62 agrees with us. And I agree, Robert. He had at least a couple steps before he kind of shuffled out of bounds there. Owner Andy Hamilton in the stats line saying Rich Pratchard better be in bounds. You don't want another Cade Stevens on your hand, Andy. Pseudo Nakai getting a swing pass coming out of the backfield, and good play by the Gladiators defense as they make the stop there. Chuck Diesel along with others.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot this game of the linebackers and man coverage on Pseudo Nakai, just trying to match his speed and stay up close to him to stop anything they try to get going with him.
Brings up second down. Offset eye again for the Legion. 3 wideouts. And off to Pseudo Nakai. Good spin move, but a great open field tackle made. And that was Chuck Diesel again getting in there and making the stop for just half a yard.
Yeah, and the interior defense for the Gladiators has played solid all season, and just showing why there is they've got plenty of big hitters, plenty of guys that can make the tackle, and Chuck Diesel being the one doing so there.
Empty set this time for Pepper. Pepper with time. He's going to throw it over the middle, and a couple wide receivers in the air cannot hang on to the football. He was looking for Tyvon Boyd, but could not complete the catch, and it falls incomplete.
I don't think that Boyd was even looking for the ball quite yet. I think he's still in the middle of making his cut, trying to run that route. It looked like it bounced right off the back of his helmet.
So that'll bring on Ramon Rakowski for his first field goal of the afternoon. This one from about 43 yards. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up and on the way, and it is through from 44 yards. So Vancouver extends their lead to 10 points on the foot of Rakowski.
Yeah, going up 10-0 early on in this game is huge for the Legion, just because St. Louis's offense haven't really been able to show that they can score on the road, only getting a total of 14 points offensively on the road, 13 coming in special teams. So getting that 10-point lead early, their defense was able to set up and make Pickler and company make some mistakes.
We'll see what the Gladiators have in store here. Chase Earl, a dangerous return man. Does he have some magic in his back pocket? Looks like he might. Sprung free towards the bottom of the screen. Is anyone going to catch him? 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown St. Louis. They're back in the ball game.
And Chase Earl just not letting the Legion, run away with this game early on. That is his second kick return touchdown this season. And interestingly enough, both have come while St. Louis was the away team. So Chase Earl really just showing these teams that he's not scared, that he may be in their field, but he's going to do what he does.
And that was just an impressive showing there, just following his blockers, bouncing it to the outside. And I agree, no fear whatsoever from Chase Earl, the rookie 21st overall pick in the second round.
Number 6 is back for the point after. Number 12 on the hold.
So that brings on Judah Dorgan for the extra point. Joining this team in week 4 as he boots the kick up and through. So a 3-point ball game just like that once again. And man, St. Louis is keeping close here, and that's why they're a top 10 team in this league.
Yeah, that touchdown really lets their sideline just get a quick breath, able to kind of relax and not have to worry being down by 10 points early on in this game. But now they got to be careful. They're kicking this ball to another dangerous return man and Mark Lopez.
Back and forth we could possibly go. Let's take a look. From the 10-yard line, Mark Lopez. And good play by the St. Louis special teams as they're able to stop him right at the 28-yard line. He had a good return to start the football game off out to the 45, but alas, not this time.
Yeah, the Gladiator special teams, they're really able to close Lopez in, actually kind of tackling him from 3 different sides, so there was nowhere for him to try to bounce it out.
First and 10 now for Pepper. Sudo Nakai is sidecar left. Pepper's going to throw it towards the far sideline, and that is incomplete. The hit from Fearman Peltier jarred the football loose, and Rich Pratchard couldn't come down with it.
Yeah, Peltier finally able to pick up on that quick corner route ran by Rich Pratchard, this time able to jump the throw and swat that ball down to the ground before they got any yards off it.
Be sure to download the ScoreStream app and follow your favorite team for live scoring updates when you aren't able to catch a game live. You can follow just your team or the entire league, the first esport league on that app. As Pepper's going to swing it out to Sudo Nakai, who muscles his way forward, and that's not easy to do through a tackle of Chuck Diesel's caliber. I'm getting all the Diesels mixed up. I got Diesel Dawson, I've got Chuck Diesel, the Diesel. There's no Shaquille O'Neal. I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of Diesels on that St. Louis team, and as you said, it gets confusing after a while.
3rd and 3, though. Good play by Nakai as he gets another handoff, trying to plow his way through, and does for first down yardage. Franco Sonati just wraps him up by the thighs and drags him down, but not before first down yardage was obtained.
Yeah, the last 2 plays by Sudo Nakai really showing a different side of him, not as much known power runner in the SFL, but really showing his strength and breaking out of tackles in these last 2 plays.
Pepper in the gun. Has time. He's going to check it down over the middle, and a big hit there. Should have probably jarred the football loose. I'm not sure why it didn't, but Mark Gronek with a huge hit there.
Yeah, and the way that Drew Reilly was jumping around that play, I did think the ball had popped out. It looked, but I think he was just trying to get out of the way, didn't want to throw an unnecessary tackle and get a flag.
2nd and 2, Pepper's in trouble, and he's going to get wrapped up, and he's down. Shane Masters getting in there with the sack. And that is his 6th sack on the season today.
Yeah, Shane Masters has just been an absolute monster for this St. Louis defensive line. 15 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and as you said, now his 6th sack. So just really doing good things on the season for them.
Puts Vancouver in a 3rd and long situation. Bunched wide receivers towards the bottom of the screen. Pepper going to throw towards that formation, and it's caught. That's 1st down yardage out to Heath McDaniel Jr. as he migrates over from the Bayou in New Orleans up to the frozen tundra in Canada.
Yeah, and Heath just running what looked to be an out route right along the line to gain, and nobody really able to get to him as that ball's thrown to the outside of him. Able to get that and a couple more yards before being taken down.
Probably see one more play before the end of the quarter. I formation this time for Vancouver. Hand off to Pseudo Nakai. Flag on the play as he only gets maybe about 1.5 yards or so. This is generally a holding call, but we'll see what we've got.
Yeah, and as I said earlier in the game, if St. Louis's defense can keep Pseudo Nakai running up the middle, they have a lot better chance to stop him, as so far he's only gotten a handful of yards trying to run the ball up the middle.
That's true. The big play that he made was an off-tackle run for that 55-yard touchdown, which is the only touchdown on the board for the Legion so far. They do have a 10-7 lead at the end of one. And we'll be right back with more Simulation Football League action here in just a second. Second quarter getting underway here as Vancouver has the football and is driving. 1st and 20 following that holding penalty. Pepper to throw. He's in trouble. Shane Masters wants him, and he's got him. Another sack there by Masters. 1.5 sacks to his credit today.
Yeah, and Tom Pepper thought maybe he would be able to outrun, get to the outside, get away from Shane Masters, but Shane Masters just showing great speed for a defensive tackle, able to get him wound up and taken to the ground.
Brings up 2nd and a mile. Trips towards the bottom of the screen. And out towards the top of the screen, Pepper throws it to Rich Pratchard, who's got a good chunk of yards, and he'll bring it out to the 49. It'll be 3rd and 18.
Yeah, and Drew really tried to jump that play and pick that ball off, but leapt a little too soon while the ball was still high up in the air, hadn't started to come down yet. And Rich Pratchard able to get that catch easily, but still 3rd and very long for the Legion offense.
Certainly not a whole lot of plays in the playbook to convert here on 3rd and 18, but we'll see what the Legion have up their sleeve. Pepper throws it over the middle, trying to get it to his receiver. Probably needed maybe 1 yard or 2 more arc on that in order to complete it there, Robert.
Yeah, and Chuck Diesel not being known for making plays on the ball when it comes to passing plays, but one pick and now a pass deflection this game, just really showing out for the Gladiators, helping them get something done.
That'll bring up a 4th down for Vancouver. Opportunity for St. Louis to take the lead here in Canada. Eric Vincent alongside Robert Garrett Jr. here in the broadcast booth. I want to thank Alan Armadas and Tom Rahman down in the stats truck helping us out with all those saucy statistics here today. And a good punt fielded at about the 15-yard line, and get maybe a couple more there as Earl probably wanted another return touchdown, but he'll make it out to the 19-yard line.
And the 19-yard line isn't a terrible spot for St. Louis to start. Not really buried into their end zone and starting where the ball would be just about if it was a touchback, able to really open up their playbook, have anything at their disposal.
Johnny Pickler under center this time around. He's got 3 wideouts to work with. Diesel Dawson is in the backfield. Instead, he's going to throw opposite way to Sean Harrelson, who had to come back to the football and will lose a couple yards in the process.
Yeah, Pickler's thrown that ball a couple times this game where it just hasn't quite gotten where it needs to, and the receiver has to come back for it. that time really hurting the Gladiators, losing a couple yards rather than gaining 2 or 3.
Offset I formation this time around, 2nd and 12. Vancouver stacking the box. Instead, Pickler's going to throw it out to Diesel Dawson, who buries the defender there as he plows ahead for a good gain of about 11.
And the defender did a really good job there at using the little strength that he could as he was going down to the ground to push Diesel Dawson towards the sideline and prevent the first down from happening. Gladiators only going 1 for 3 so far this game in third downs. So the Legions feel pretty good about their chances.
It's a formidable run game, though, so we'll have to see if maybe this is the short yardage situation is a handoff to either their fullback or their star running back. Instead, Diesel Dawson's going to get a handoff, avoids the first tackler, and will plow ahead for a couple more as he gets first down yardage to the 31.
And that play there will be one that Doug Day is going to be shaking his head at watching the film. Had Diesel Dawson in the backfield, maybe a 1 yard deep, but Dawson just able to use that strength and put him to the ground.
Another handoff to Dawson, trying to avoid a tackler there, and does avoid the second one as he takes off. A third one, a fourth one, and finally dragged out of bounds. There is a penalty marker on the field, but man, oh man, what a run by Diesel Dawson.
Yeah, Diesel Dawson showing that he has a little bit of breakaway speed as a power back, just getting past a lot of the defenders and making something happen there.
And then on top of that, there was a 5-yard face mask on there called on the defensive line. That was Rock Blazer. We'll get a look right here. And yeah, just kind of grazed the face mask as he was going down. So that'll tack on 5 more on top of that impressive run. First and 10 from the 27, offset I, Pickler. Gonna swing it out to Dawson. He's got a caravan. Trying to follow his blockers and does out to the 18-yard line for a gain of 9. Into the SFL red zone we go.
And the tackler there able to stop Diesel Dawson in his tracks, stand him up, which is really all you can hope for when you go head up against him. So able to stop it. 2nd and 1 now, though. You got to think the Gladiators look to return to Diesel Dawson.
We will see if that's what they decide to do here. Vancouver showing blitz. They will send them, and Diesel Dawson gets buried in the backfield. Good play call there by the defensive coordinator of Vancouver as they're able to knock him down in the backfield. Lee Adama with a tackle for loss.
Yeah, the offensive line just not able to stop Adama there. Maybe they blocked back or something, and Adama was supposed to be somebody else's pickup, but just untouched, they're able to get Diesel Dawson in the backfield.
Pickler throws it over the middle into coverage and caught. Man, he thread the needle on that one, but it was a first down, and it's a 1st and goal from the 10 for the Gladiators.
Yeah, and that was a great throw there. Able to squeeze that through tight coverage, as you said, and maybe he just put it up a little bit higher where the receiver was able to get to it, but the defender was not.
Chase Earl with that nifty catch there as Pickler chains things up at the line. He's going to hand it off to Diesel Dawson, and he will plow ahead to about the 6-yard line. Good gain of 4 there on 1st and goal.
And Diesel Dawson just running as a monster in the red zone for the Gladiators so far this season. You got to think that they might go back to him this play, and if they don't get it then, might even go to him for the 3rd down.
Offset I again for St. Louis. Handoff again to Diesel Dawson, and Vancouver ready for it as King Seed Sr. comes up and makes the tackle along with Mark Lopez and a host of other Legion.
Yeah, King Seed Sr. read that play perfectly, able to come down off the edge from his deep zone and stop Dawson from gaining any yards, force a 3rd and 8.
I don't think we'll see another run. We'll have to wait and see. No, it will be a pass. Pickler has time. He's going to air it out towards the back of the end zone. Good play by Mark Lopez to track the receiver and bat the football away.
And I believe that ball was thrown to Cody Scott in the backfield, a very reliable target when it comes to throwing into the end zone, but not able to get it there. And Pickler still has 0 passing touchdowns when on the road about halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah, Cody Scott with 4 touchdowns to his credit already this season. And St. Louis will line up for a chip shot field goal. The kick is up and on the way in, through from 25 yards due to Dorgan tying up the ball game at 10 apiece.
And the field goal to tie this game up is big for the Gladiators. Able to try some new stuff out that maybe they haven't been able to in the game, as they've really been playing catch up all game so far.
Certainly keeps them in the football game as they line up to boot the football down the field. Lopez inside his own 10. Trying to follow his blocker, sidesteps the defender, and will get tackled right at the 27-yard line. For those of you viewing us for the first time, what are you watching? The Simulation Football League is the first controllerless esport, allowing you, the viewer, to participate in all the action on the field without a controller in your hands. Visit simulation.football for details on how to get started with a team and in this great league. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Handoff to Pseudo Nakai. His last big run was an off-tackle run like this one, but he will get tackled at the 32-yard line, a gain of 4.
And that number right there, average of 16.3 yards per carry, it just shows why Pseudo Nakai is as good as he has been. Just able to do things that other running backs really haven't been able to so far this season.
We'll see what he can do here on this play. 2nd and 6. He's going to get another handoff. Trying to beat the defender towards the outside and could not. That was a great play by Chuck Diesel getting in there and making the stop.
Yeah, Chuck Diesel just hit Pseudo Nakai like a Mack truck there on that play. Stopped him dead in the tracks and really put him straight onto the ground. So Pseudo Nakai probably looking to try to avoid Chuck Diesel a little bit next run.
3rd down, quick throw, Pepper, and he's going to have his man, Tyvon, covering him off. And Pepper saw that immediately, got it to him.
Yeah, Pepper playing smart football so far in this game, able to just stand up from the snap and throw that one quickly before the Gladiators defense were able really to get set into coverage and able to gain a quick 1st down.
Shotgun formation this time. Nakai sidecar right from Pepper. Pepper. Pressure coming. Throws it over the middle. That's caught. He's got Craig Hearn, his tight end there. This is his 2nd season here in Vancouver, coming over from Sioux Falls.
Yeah, and Tom Pepper there, that last play, actually, I felt held the ball a little too long. It ended up working out for him, able to hit Craig Hearn, but that defensive line was coming in hot. And both these quarterbacks early in this game, just holding the ball too long.
I was a little sweaty. I got to agree with you there. I would have gotten rid of it long before then. But Pepper's going to get rid of it quickly, and he's got his man opposite end this time. But that play, you hit on it, Robert. That play has worked several times today, Pepper to Pratchard.
Yeah, Rich Pratchard with 92 receiving yards so far this game, and really gotten it done in just a half of football. Able to play well, and the Gladiators defense has to cover Rich Pratchard a little tighter.
Peltier just a little bit slow to kind of cover him. All sorts of speed from Rich Pratchard. Hats off to him as he runs an incredible route there and gives the Legion a 1st down. Pepper takes the high snap. He's got time. He's going to check it over the middle. That's caught. Good game, about 7 or 8 yards out towards the 28-yard line. That's the other tight end, Phil Koffs, with the reception.
Yeah, that was just a quick, easy read for Tom Pepper. That was most likely his check down receiver, but gave 1 or 2 other receivers a look. Wasn't there, so he dumped that ball off for an easy 7-yard gain.
Under 3 minutes to go. Pepper gonna air it out again into coverage this time and incomplete. I think he was going to Pratchard on that same play again, but this time St. Louis was ready for it.
Yeah, Colin Douglas this time waiting there, ready for that play to happen. Maybe a little speed than Peltier has, able to get to that ball and get it to the ground before Rich Pratchard could get it. And if he had caught that, that may have been a touchdown. There wasn't a whole lot else around him.
Instead brings up a third down. Pepper gonna throw it. First down, wide open, man. And that'll move those chains out to the 21-yard line. Craig Hearn with the catch.
Yeah, with plays like that, a lot of times the offensive coordinator or the coach just tells that player, get across the line to gain, turn around and wait. If there's nothing there, you get the ball quick and easy, and we got a first down.
Offset eye, Pseudo Nakai getting the handoff. Elects to bounce it to the inside of his block, but still gets 7 yards as he's out to the 14-yard line into the SFL red zone.
That's the play there that the Gladiators have to contain Pseudo Nakai. If he gets that outside edge, there's not a whole lot of players in the SFL that could catch him, let alone on the Gladiators team.
And we have reached the 2-minute warning here in Vancouver. Tie ball game, but Vancouver is driving. We'll see if they can take the lead on the other side. The Legion quickly breaking the huddle. 10-10 ball game, 2nd and 3 for them here from the 14. Pepper will throw again. He's going to air it out towards the corner of the end zone. Tipped up in the... Accepted. That was not what you wanted from Tom Pepper in that particular situation, but Freeman Peltier is able to make the tip drill work to perfection.
Yeah, and they just tried that play one too many times. And Colin Douglas able to tip the ball up in the air. Freeman Peltier able to finish off and get the interception. So the Gladiators now have the ball at 20 and able to stop Vancouver from scoring any points.
Evan Arthur on the tip there, able to tip it up to his buddy Freeman Peltier, coming over from London. Playing his first season here with the Gladiators. Diesel Dawson with a handoff, and he fumbles the football. I have no idea who was going to come up with this one, but it looks like Vancouver might have.
And it looks like the guy at the bottom of the pile was possibly Doug Day there, one of the reliable players for the Vancouver defense. So Vancouver coming back after that interception, letting Tom Pepper come back out and try to get something done yet again.
Yeah, Kevin Brackett actually forcing the fumble there, so it gives the football right back to the Legion on offense with decent field position here. All 3 timeouts to work with, and 1:49. Offset eye. Pepper's going to throw again, throws it towards the far sideline, and that's incomplete. He was looking for Brett Killian, but I think he just put a little too much mustard on that.
Yeah, and that one was scary. That ball could have been picked off. It came with some heat, as you said, went right past Brett Killian and pretty much straight towards Colin Douglas. So Vancouver really dodged a bullet on that one. Douglas looking to make the tackle rather than pick that ball off.
2nd and 10. Nakai, the single back. Pepper instead is going to throw. Wide open man. Brett Killian. Touchdown, Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver able to run Brett Killian straight up the sideline. And it appeared that it was in man coverage. There was only 8, and he did it pretty easily. Able to go straight down the field, get that ball, and run it in for a touchdown.
Yeah, it just beat his man. That was Drew Riley that he beat. And I'm not sure if it was just right off the line or what happened, but man, oh man, Brett Killian was wide open, and a well-placed ball there by Tom Pepper to get his man into the end zone.
And there's been a couple plays like that for the Gladiators where their defensive backs have been set in a spot where they could get a pass deflection or even make the interception, but they just jump a little too soon on that ball, and it soars right over their hands.
So Vancouver, the beneficiaries of the turnover, as they to turn it into points and regain a 7-point lead. To keep up with how your player and team are doing this season, visit simulationfl.net for standings, leaderboards, and sortable team stats. The rookie big board is there too, tracking the next superstars in the SFL. And speaking of those stats, both these teams coming in tied at the top of the league with the turnover differential of +8. So that's definitely something to look out for later on in the ball game, as we've seen a couple different turnovers from either team today, as Earl is able to return a tough one out to the 32-yard line.
And that was a scary return by Chase Earl. Seemed like every player on that special teams for the Legion got a hand on him, but he was able to break tackle after tackle, finally going down at the 32.
Offset I formation for Pickler. Short drop. He's going to throw it over the middle. A sliding attempt at the football with Sean Harrelson, but it falls incomplete. Good coverage out there by the Vancouver secondary.
Yeah, Mark Lopez almost able to pick that ball off and take it ahead with a full head of steam there. Just didn't quite get his hands positioned right. It looked like the ball bounced right off of his chest. And so had he had that ball, he had a lot of speed going for him. I don't know if anybody would have been able to take him down.
I think he wanted to take off Sean Harrelson's head on that play. He was seeing Harrelson slide in and wanted to make the big hit, but gets a pass defended on that play. Second down now from the 32-yard line. Handoff, Diesel Dawson plowing ahead. Flag on the play as he gets dragged down by Doug Day. We'll have to see what the laundry is on the field.
I think this may be another intentional face mask. It came out right as the hit was made. No, they'll call it a holding.
They will call it a holding, so the Gladiators will move backwards on that play. And that's certainly not what you want to see, as on the offensive lineman number 78 gets the is the guilty party there.
Yeah, that was tackle Bruce C. As you said, not something you want to see. They got quite a bit of yards, 7 or 8 there. Would have set them up nicely, but now they're facing a 2nd and 20.
Daunting task here for the rookie. 90 seconds to go, 2 timeouts, and a 2nd and 20. Pickler has plenty of time, finally finds an option there, and it's Dawson as he makes it out to the 25-yard line, only a short gain on the play. Actually, excuse me, that was Trellis Blanton on the play.
Pickler really didn't want to throw that route there. He kept looking deep, kept looking for his receivers. Nobody quite able to make a move coverage, so he had to dump that one off to Blanton and gain a few yards rather than what he wanted.
Clock continuing to roll. Vancouver faithful on their feet for their defense as Dawson will get a swing pass out of the backfield. Good shoulder to the defender there, and he is still going to be shy of the line to gain, but a great run there by Diesel Dawson. We've seen plenty of those today.
As you can see, too, from the end of that run, there were about 4 or 5 Legion players to take him down, and that's really what you need against a guy like Diesel Dawson. You need gang tackles. The more guys that you can get a hand on him at once, the better, because it's going to slow him down, it's going to stop his momentum, and finally he'll have to go down.
And it looks like Vancouver is content with going into the locker room with the lead, not electing to use any timeouts. St. Louis bleeding the play clock all the way down before punting the football away. Lopez fields it at about the 30-yard line, and he will take over. His offense will take over at the 33-yard line of Vancouver with 4 seconds to go. Probably just going to be a kneel down and into the locker room we go.
Yeah, it looked like Mark Lopez might have been trying to get something done on that punt return, but he just spun a little too late and turned his back to the defender, so it was an easy tackle to take him to the ground.
Offset I formation for Pepper. St. Louis showing blitz. Sudo Nakai trying to throw a couple spin moves back towards the interior of the field and almost broke that one, but it ends up being triple zeros on the clock. 17-10 your score as Vancouver heads into the half with the lead. as we get a look at the first half stats and highlights. Robert, what kind of stands out to you in this ball game so far?
And there's a lot of things that stand out to me so far. Tom Pepper being one of them with 190 passing yards, just doing really well, being the leader in overall QBR for the SFL at number 1, getting the ball where it needs to be, especially to Rich Pratchard on those corner routes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Vancouver offense has looked very, very good specifically in the passing game, as we get a look at Sudo Nakai's big run to start things off. But he hasn't really been too successful in the run game past that. So it really has been Tom Pepper trying to pick things up.
And looking at the other side of the field with the Gladiators, so far their workhorse really has been Diesel Dawson. 9 carries, 67 yards, averaging 7 yards per carry. Johnny Pickler kind of struggling so far. 12 completions, 16 attempts, but he's only able to get 69 yards off of that total. So not doing too bad, but you'd like to see better from the rookie.
And St. Louis, not really necessarily able to kind of get things going on offense. Chase Earl with the only touchdown on the board for St. Louis. Just not really. We've seen some big plays kind of come from Vancouver that assisted them with the offensive scoring. We haven't really seen a ton of big plays from St. Louis, but the ones that we have seen are from this guy right here, Diesel Dawson.
Yeah, and the other guy with some big play potential that we've seen has been wide receiver Chase Earl, not necessarily on the side of the ball, but for special teams, getting that return touchdown, the first score on the board for the Gladiators, and it really brought it into a closer game and made Vancouver realize, we have competition tonight.
Yeah, and this defense has been very, very good for St. Louis as well. And honestly, it'd be a tie ball game if it weren't for that inexplicable fumble there by Dawson, which set up this beautiful touchdown pass from Pepper to Brett Killian.
Yeah, Diesel Dawson, his first fumble on the season, and it came just at an inopportune time. Let the Legion go up by 7 and have the chance to keep this lead.
And definitely want to make you guys aware that this is SFL Mega Sunday. We've got 2 games going on right now. The other going Simulation Football League Twitch channel. So be sure to check that out as well, as Stephen Hacker and Dan Mitchell are on the call in the ATL. But we've got another one coming up here in just a few hours, as Rich Pratchard and Eddie Gage will be on the call live on the West Coast in Seattle, as the Vegas Fury will travel up to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Tyrants. So certainly want to stay tuned for that. That will be on 11 Sports and For the Fans, so be sure to stay tuned to that coming on later this afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Central, as St. Louis will take over at the 25-yard line off of the return by Chase Earl. 1 touchdown already for him today. Handoff to Diesel Dawson, has a caravan. He's going to bounce. Can he break through the defense? He's only got a couple guys to beat. He'll eventually get dragged out at the 35-yard line, but that's a big play to start things off for the St. Louis offense.
Yeah, Diesel Dawson able just to break out, really actually going untouched for most of that run, but not quite able to hold the speed, slowed down a little bit, and Vancouver's defense was finally able to catch up to him, drag him down. But still just a huge gain for the Gladiators. Takes a little pressure off of Johnny Pickler's shoulders.
And that's what you want your star running back to do, especially when you're in your rookie season. You need those veterans to kind of lean on, and Diesel has certainly done that for him today. Offset I formation for Pickler. He's going to throw it out to Diesel Dawson. Another good block out there on the outside, and that's what's been key, I think, for the performance of Diesel Dawson today, is great blocking up front by the O-line.
Yeah, Dawson a little slow to get up on that play, but hops right back up and shakes it all off. Looks like he might be showing just a little bit of fatigue, as much as he's been used so far in this game.
Second and short, Dawson with another handoff, and he'll get down in the backfield. He'll barely get back up to the line as King Seed Sr. gets in there. Oh, no, excuse me. That was Brian Craven that got in worth the stop.
Yeah, and that's a routine play for Brian Craven and making that tackle. Coming into the game with 29 tackles and 25 assists. No stranger to making contact and showing that here to start off the second half.
So a 3rd and short. Diesel Dawson will get the first down and more as he trots into the SFL red zone, eventually taken down by the secondary. Kyler Murray along up with others dragging him down, but a first down for St. Louis.
And that was great vision there by Diesel Dawson, able to bounce it just a little bit to his right as he's seen his guard on that right side just get overpowered by the defensive line of Vancouver and able to gain yards off of it.
Fresh set of downs for the Gladiators. Pickler, pressure's coming. Plenty of time, but goes down. Had to get rid of the football sooner than that as Leah Dama comes in off the edge this time and gets another sack.
Yeah, Pickler's just spending too much time sitting in the pocket, really wanting to throw a couple deep balls, possibly, trying to get that first passing touchdown, still having none so far, and it just kind of hurts him in the end getting that sack.
Got another opportunity here, 2nd and 16. Pickler gonna throw it over the middle into coverage, and that probably should have been picked off. Doug Day was in the vicinity there and just could not come up with the football.
And that ball thrown to Sean Harrelson. As you said, Doug Day just sitting waiting. That crossing route was there, but he threw it a little too short. Had he stretched it out a little more, Sean Harrelson possibly could have gotten it on a diving catch as he was already sprawled out trying to get there.
Another 3rd and long. This Vancouver defense wants to blitz. They will. And Pickler sends it out to Dawson as he's able to plow ahead to the 15-yard line. But it's still going to be well short of the line to gain. Ends up being a 4th down, and we'll see another field goal opportunity for Judah Dorgan.
That swing pass has worked wonders for St. Louis so far. That time kind of hurting them as, they're down by 7, but at least they got a chance to put up some points, make this a 4-point game, and have a little bit of time to go.
So another bit of a chippy here. This one from 32. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up and away. It is through from 32 yards, so that'll narrow the gap. 17-13 now your score here in Vancouver as Dorgan boots through another field goal today.
And Diesel Dawson really being the workhorse for St. Louis yet again on that drive, gaining most of the yards on that one, but setting them up so that it's only a 4-point game, and if their defense can play as strong as they have been, keep Vancouver contained and keep this one close.
Hand is up in the air for Dorgan as he's able to boot the ball down the field. Fielded by Lopez at about the 10-yard line. And right up the field he goes, out to the 29-yard line. And I'm just getting word from Vancouver's sideline there that sack by Leah Dama gave him the Vancouver record for sacks in a single season with 8.5. The previous record was 7.5, and he's done it in half a season as a rookie. So hats off to Leah Dama for breaking that record there, as that's certainly a huge accomplishment there for the 6th overall pick in the SFL rookie draft. Pepper's going to throw into coverage and incomplete. He was looking for his favorite target, Rich Pratchard, but that was good coverage there by the St. Louis secondary.
Yeah, looking for that corner route yet again, but as they come out in the half, St. Louis adjusted for that play, maybe putting a little bit of a deep zone over on his side of the field, able to sit there and wait for that one, put it down into the ground.
Four-point ball game here for the Legion. They have four wideouts on the field. Instead, it'll be a handoff to Sunu Nakai. And man, he's got some speed as he throws down a spin cycle and plows ahead for a first down. Tackle made by Colin Douglas.
The defensive line for the Gladiators really have to do a better job here at containing the offensive line. If you let their line get up to the second level, block those linebackers, Sunu Nakai is going to take it for a gain of at least 10, 7 out of 8 times.
Visit sector6apparel.com for all league and team apparel, including hoodies, t-shirts, team jerseys, and more. Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the SFL, as Tom Pepper airs it out and is going to throw it to his safety net, Craig Hearn, as he gets, I think that's his third catch on the ball game, as we see Franco Sonati is a little slow to get up. That'll be a huge loss there for the defensive front for the Gladiators.
And that's not a good look when they have to wave out the medical staff. But as you said, it's a huge loss for the Gladiators defense. You know, they still have plenty of weapons, but Franco Sonati, with 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss on the season, really done a good job. And so they'll have to find something to fill that void.
Legion coming out in an offset I formation on 2nd and 1. Hand off to Pseudo Nakai, and he's got a burst of speed coming out of the backfield. Couple spin moves, and out to the 41-yard line. Man, he is running with some purpose today.
And that's that off tackle run that Pseudo Nakai just loves to get. Able to get that outside edge and take off. Nobody really able to touch him until he got far beyond the second level, finally able to drag him down.
Eric Vincent alongside Robert Garrett Jr. here in Vancouver, Canada. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. We've also got Tom Rahman and Alan Armadas in the stats truck helping us out with the stats today. 17-13 your score in favor of the Legion, as Tom Pepper is going to air it out once again, and he's got Brett Killian towards the far sideline. He's got a touchdown grab today, and he's also got 41 yards to boot.
That quick out route, something we're seeing all over the so far this season. Just really hard to cover it. And, you know, the quarterback's able to throw that ball a little to the outside where the defender's not able to get there. And it's easy yards for the receiver.
2nd and 3, offset I for Vancouver. And off to Pseudo Nakai. It's that off-tackle run he likes so much, and he will get a first down as he breaks it out to the 28-yard line. Vancouver putting together another nice drive.
And the important thing on that one is that Chuck Diesel was just following along right behind Pseudo Nakai, able to stop him from bouncing that one back inside, able to force him to the sideline where they were finally able to get the tackle.
Another handoff to Nakai as he tries to throw the spin move down again to no avail this time around, as Mo Biggins throws him to the turf.
Yeah, and Mo Biggins is the replacement for Franco Sonati. So doing good things so far, having to fill in out of a sudden injury.
Offset I, Pepper, pockets collapsing, throws it into coverage and incomplete. Another great play by Chuck Diesel as he's able to bat the football away. And he's been good in pass coverage today.
Yeah, and he's showing his vertical there, able to get up real high and stop that ball from sailing over his head. Something that the Gladiators have kind of struggled doing so far in this game.
3rd and 7.
9th play of the drive for Vancouver on 3rd and 7. Pepper in the empty. Has time, gonna throw it over the middle, wide open, and for the wide receiver to work with, that's Heath McDaniel Jr. with first down catch, and it'll be a 1st and goal for Vancouver.
And that was just, it looked like a corner and a post route, able to cross each other. It confuses the defenders, gives the receivers a second to get open and catch that ball as they did.
Well, it certainly helps when the other receiver was Brett Killian. I think they were probably keying in on him just because he's had a very nice relationship with Tom Pepper there. But Heath McDaniel Jr., the beneficiary of that this time around, as Pepper pump fakes, he's going to go down. Good pressure coming in by Shane Masters as he gets in for his 2nd and a half sack.
Shane Masters just showing great speed as he has pretty much all game, able to shoot in through that gap. Doesn't give Tom Pepper the time to realize the pressure is coming and dump that ball off to Pseudo Nakai.
So that bumps the Legion back a little bit. Second and goal from the 14. 4.5 to go here in the third. Pepper to throw. He's got Sudo Nakai one-on-one, and he's tackled at about the 10-yard line. They'll mark him at the 11, but Chuck Diesel once again in there on the stop.
And as they've done a good majority of the game, they've just had Chuck Diesel spying Sudo Nakai. Wherever Nakai goes, Diesel's going to follow and able to stop that for a minimal gain.
Pepper, 7-step drop, going to air it out towards the near sideline and incomplete. And that was a good batted ball by Nathan Blake, the former London Knight, coming over to St. Louis and play over in the States. That's going to be a field goal attempt coming up for Vancouver.
Nathan Blake just flies up on that ball, swats it to the ground before it's able to be caught. Nobody was anywhere near the receiver, so had that ball been caught, it was easy walk-in touchdown for Vancouver to go up much more, but they're going to have to try to take these 3 points and carry on with their lead.
Good snap, good hold. Kick is up and through from 27 yards, so another 3 points for Vancouver off of Rukowski's foot, and that extends the lead back up to 7. And this St. Louis defense has been keeping them in the ballgame today, Robert.
Yeah, the Gladiators defense doing everything they can to take some pressure off the shoulders of Johnny Pickler and the offense, keeping this within a 7-point game. So Pickler doesn't have to rush as much, and that offense can try to get things done with, their star players such as Diesel Dawson.
Earl already with 1 return touchdown to his credit, will not get another. Chase Earl brings it up to the 25-yard line for a good starting field position for St. Louis. And Robert, I think you're absolutely right with Diesel Dawson having himself a good game on top of the defense playing as well as they have. It certainly takes off a little pressure from the rookie, the first overall pick. I formation for Pickler to start things off. He's got a wide open Sean Harrelson who's able to make the catch with some toe drag swag out to the 29-yard line. So it looks like Franco Sinati will be out for the rest of the ball game as he is nursing an elbow injury. So he will certainly be missed on that defensive front for the Gladiators.
And that'll be something to key in for the Gladiators defense. Have to watch and see how Mo Biggins is able to fill that spot for the rest of the game. See how he's able to play against a very good Legion offensive line.
Hand off to Diesel Dawson, and a great run there. All the way out to the 34-yard line. He turned a gain of 1 into a gain of 9.
Yeah, Diesel Dawson just powering straight through that defense as he always does. Really close to the first down. The only thing that stopped him is that defender was able to spin him with his momentum before he took him down.
Pickler going to swing it out to Dawson. He's got the first down and more as he buries the defender into the turf. A vicious stiff arm on Dean Maddox and a first down for St. Louis.
Yeah, the stiff arm, something that Diesel Dawson has used all season, and it's just a nasty thing to see. All the strength and power going straight into the ground for the other player. Diesel Dawson able to get a first down easily.
I formation for St. Louis on first down. Pickler doesn't like what he sees. He's changing things up. Vancouver stacking the box. Handoff to Diesel Dawson. Plows straight ahead. They're only for about a gain of a couple, and I'm surprised he caught even a couple. Tackle made by Brian Craven.
And that play there was just a great show from both sides. The defense adjusting things they needed to. Pickler seeing the adjustment, seeing the offense the way he to. Only able to get a gain of 2 off of it, though.
Pickler in the gun this time on second down. Takes the snap, has time, penalty marker on the play, throws it into coverage and incomplete. Sean Harrelson, the intended receiver. But we'll have to see what the penalty marker is. I'd expect it to be a holding. Instead, we're going to see clipping, which is just that much worse. So that'll back St. Louis up even further and set him up with a second and long.
Clipping's one of those calls that you really never want to see because it's just such an unnecessary thing to to do on offensive line, especially. You already have all kinds of potentials for blocks, and you don't really need to clip to get a guy down, but they do there.
Bit of a head scratcher too. I'm not sure if I even saw the clip on that play, but alas, that is what we call 2nd and 26 from the 23-yard line. Pickler throws it over the middle, somehow caught, thread the needle hardcore there to his wideout, and is able to get the first down out to Jacob Swaim.
That actually went to Cody Scott there.
It did, yeah.
One of Pickler's go-to guys so far this season. And, Cody Scott's just all season been able to make plays like that. Catch the ball when you don't think it's possible, and has 2 receptions for 20 yards on this game, so averaging 10 yards per reception.
3rd and 13, screenplay over to Dawson, trying to get what he can, and he'll cut that in half as he makes it out to the 45-yard line, actually more than half, as it's a 4th and 5 and another punt for St. Louis.
And that's just one of the things you see with Johnny Pickler on the road, a little shaky, and must have gotten nervous, felt a little more pressure than there actually was, tried to throw that check down and not able to get there.
Another punt for the Gladiators here as they boot it down the field. Fair caught by Mark Lopez at the 26-yard line as he doesn't elect to return that one. So we'll see what Vancouver can do with a minute 18 in the 3rd quarter. And Tom Pepper's been kind of shaky today. He's had some big plays. He's got over 200 yards of passing offense, completing over 60% of his passes, but those couple picks today have looked kind of bad.
Yeah, the interceptions just coming at bad times, too. That one in the end zone that would have put them up, which in the end they did go up with that lead, but it was off of the fumble rather than a Tom Pepper touchdown throw.
Right, and another curious throw there. It's been kind of like that today, where he's thrown it into coverage, and we kind of expect things like that from Johnny Pickler since he's a rookie and all. Tom Pepper, he's a seasoned vet. He's been in the league for 6 seasons now. You don't necessarily expect him to make those kind of forced throws, if you will. Brings up a 2nd down. Pepper's going to throw again. Steps up in the pocket. Good pocket awareness as he sends it out to Sudo Nakai, and a great move by Sudo Nakai. Be kidding me. I thought he stayed in bounds the whole way, and he was going to take it to the house.
And Sudo Nakai just showing off his shiftiness there. Spins off of one guy, jukes the other to the sideline, and then goes to spin off of another. Unfortunately, that foot just grazed the white line out of bounds, not able to get there any farther.
And be sure to stay tuned. Coming up 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Central Time, the Vegas Fury will travel to Seattle to take on the Tyrants. That game will air live on 11 Sports and for the fans. Be sure to check that out later on this afternoon as Sudo Nakai with another good run. He'll plow ahead to the 42-yard line for a gain of 3.
The defensive ends that time for St. Louis doing a really good job overpowering the tackles, pushing them inside. It actually forced Sudo Nakai to have to bounce a little bit farther to the outside, which gave the linebackers time to fill the hole and make the tackle.
Five down for St. Louis as Sudo Nakai gets another handoff. Throws down a couple more spin moves as he makes it out to the 47-yard line, making it a 3rd and short for the Legion.
And Delaney Nash had an incredible block there. Chuck Diesel was coming off the edge with extreme heat, ready to just flatten Sudo Nakai, but Delaney Nash able to make that block and stop him in his tracks.
Everybody get your 4s up in the chat. We've got a tight one here on YouTube, 20-13 your score. St. Louis trying to get the ball back here as we hit the 4th quarter of action live in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. 3rd and 2 for Vancouver. Pepper gonna air it out into coverage, tip drill, and intercepted. Freeman Peltier has it. As a couple different Gladiators had an opportunity, and Freeman Peltier finally airs it.
And I believe that is Freeman Peltier's second interception this game. And both of them have just come off of tips like that. Able to get himself at the right place at the right time, come up with the interception, and really help out the Gladiators, put them in decent field position.
So rather than having to deal with a punt, St. Louis sets up with decent field position here at the 37 as they take over for their first possession of the fourth quarter. Handoff to Diesel Dawson, trying to find some room, somehow squeaks through and is able to make it out to the 40-yard line for a gain of 3. I thought he was dead to rights right at the line of scrimmage there.
Yeah, but Diesel Dawson doing something that great running backs are able to do, making himself smaller as he went through that hole. The defensive line really tried to pinch it off and stop him from going anywhere, but able to fight through it and gain a couple yards before he went down to the ground.
Pickler going to throw it out. Nice little one-handed grab there by Dawson as he's able to get another yard somehow on that play. And I don't think the rookie really did him any favors on that.
No, Pickler seems to have some jitters coming into this fourth quarter and just overthrew Diesel Dawson on that swing pass. Dawson making a great one-handed catch, but not able to get anywhere as the defender was in his face.
Brings up a 3rd and 6 as Pickler sets up in the gun. We've seen a lot of screen passes on these plays, and this time he's going to go down. Liadama getting and extending his record out to 9.5 sacks.
Yeah, and the center, Freddie Tubbs, looked like he kind of just gave up on that pass block. The defensive line, or Liadama, overpowered him quite a bit, and instead of trying to get back in front of him, stop him, he kind of just directed him straight into Johnny Pickler to get that sack.
Mark Lopez not calling for the fair catch this time around. Instead, he'll get maybe a couple out of it at the 36-yard line. Still plenty of time for St. Louis, though. Their defense has been playing extraordinarily well and keeping them in this ball game.
Yeah, but their defense right here, with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they really got to stay strong, either force another punt or turnover, or force a field goal here. They can't give up another touchdown. It makes things iffy for the Gladiators offense.
It certainly does, as Sudo Nakai breaks it out to the outside. Has plenty of speed. No one's going to catch him. Get out of here. 10-5, touchdown Sudo Nakai.
Wow, and that's, again, the breakaway speed that we saw to start the game may have kind of drove the sword in and finished the game. Sudo Nakai able to beat everybody off that outside edge and take off for a real long touchdown.
And just an impressive run, very similar, like you said, to his first quarter touchdown run of 55 yards. And that extends the lead for Vancouver and certainly puts St. Louis in a tough situation here.
Yeah, St. Louis now comes in down 14 and really got to get things going, got to strike quick in this next possession so that they have plenty of time to try to tie it up with another possession that they may get later on.
And good pressure, actually, on that extra point attempt, but still up and through for Vancouver, so a 14-point lead now. And as we mentioned, St. Louis with some work to do, but still time. 9:11 left to go here in the final quarter of play. All 3 timeouts to work with. And Chase Earl with a return touchdown already, returning this football out to the 27-yard line.
And Sudo Nakai being credited for another rush touchdown. So both his long rushing touchdowns this game have been for 55 yards. Just able to get across half of the field and nobody anywhere near him.
Yeah, both very impressive runs for sure. To Suda Nakai's credit, as he's got over 150 yards of rushing offense, as Shane Diesel gets a swing pass here, and he was just led a little bit too far out of bounds as he's able to complete the catch and lose a yard.
Yeah, Johnny Pickler, yet again, just overthrowing the receiver that little bit. Diesel Dawson having to stretch out for it to make the catch. Really would have been better off just letting it roll onto the ground and going with a 2nd and 10 instead of 2nd and 11.
But alas, they've got the 2nd and 11 to work with here. Handoff this time for Dawson as he lowers his shoulders and plows ahead to the 32-yard line, and that is where Lincoln Kingseed, amongst others, makes the stop.
Yeah, Diesel Dawson doesn't care that last play lost a yard. Going to go ahead and gain that yard back along with a few more. Setting up for a 3rd and 5. The Gladiators got to get something done here.
Play action fake. Pickler throws it towards the top of the screen and incomplete. He was looking for Earl, but good coverage out there by Vancouver. I think if Pickler had put a little bit more mustard on here, I don't think Ashley Rose Finch had a chance.
No, Ashley Rose Finch, as you said, playing great coverage. A great ability to watch the ball, too, waiting to make contact. Ball had hit Chase Earl in the hands. Looked very close to being a possible pass interference, but the fact that she had the smarts to hang on a couple more seconds before trying anything, able to force a 4th down.
So the Vancouver defense now stepping up here in the second half. They've held St. Louis to only 3 points during the course of the second half as Mark Lopez with an impressive spin move. Nice sidestep as he makes it out to the 48-yard line of St. Louis.
Yeah, Mark Lopez just made that Gladiator player look like he was nuts diving at a ghost on the ground or something.
That's how great returners that's what they'll do. That's how they make their special teams look so good, as they make those shifty little moves and end up bringing their offense fantastic field position here at the 48-yard line. Suda Nakai, man, what a move! You got to be kidding me, Suda Nakai! Here again, touchdown, Vancouver.
Wow, that's really all you can say about it is wow. Suda Nakai just making these St. Louis players miss their tackles and get into the open green grass, finding the end zone.
I mean, just look at this. Sidestep, another juke move, avoids the tackler, and he's gone. Still has plenty of speed left in the tank to just torch the rest of the defense. Just an unbelievable run there by Suda.
And Evan Arthur actually had the chance to take him down, but seemed to leave his feet a little too soon. I don't know if that's just because Suda Nakai had that much speed that all he could do was start to go down and hope for the best, or maybe he tripped himself up, but in the end, not able to make the tackle, gives up a Suda Nakai touchdown.
He's certainly putting himself in the running for not only player of the game, but an offensive player of the week for the Simulation Football League. We'll have to stay tuned for that. The high snap comes down, and Murkowski boots it up and through. So a 21-point lead now for Vancouver, as Suda Nakai is just going bonkers here in the fourth quarter.
And that is his 3rd straight 50-plus yard touchdown this game. Being put in as a 52-yard rushing touchdown. So he's got 2 of 55 and 1 of 52. Just showing, he gets that grass and he's going to be gone.
Over 200 yards of offense for him today, as Vancouver will boot it to Chase Earl, fielded inside the 10-yard line, as the special teams for Vancouver knocks him down at the 27-yard line. So St. Louis has some work to do, and they got to do it in a hurry.
Yeah, this is now a must-score moment for the Gladiators. What just seconds ago seemed like it was a very close game, quickly got out of hand, and the Gladiators and Johnny Pickler have to do something about it right here, right now.
And that's what special players will do. They make special moments and, put up their team onto a platform, as Pickler's in trouble, and he's going to go down. Lee Dama get a sack. Looks like another defensive lineman getting in there for another sack. I think that was Craven getting in there for a half sack.
Yeah, and Leadama doing the thing that he has all this game and all this season so far, as we kind of talked about, just putting up more and more sack numbers. And part of that was on Johnny Pickler. He's seen that pressure, and instead of scrambling and throwing that ball away, decided to hold on to it and end up taking an 11-yard sack.
That hurts the Gladiators quite a bit here as they're backed up to the 16. Pickler in trouble again. He's going to throw, but he's hit as he's thrown, up for grabs and incomplete. Don't know who exactly he was looking for, but that was a prayer if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, and the Legion looked to play duck hunt there as that ball wobbled through the air after he got hit trying to throw it.
If you're new to the SFL, get your spot in the SFL Minor League SFLM today to #claim your spot and begin your SFL career. Subscriptions are going fast, and the inaugural kickoff begins in April. First Pro subscribers get first priority on choosing their position, so don't delay your career another second. As Pickler airs it out towards the far sideline into coverage once again, and again falls incomplete. This secondary for Vancouver has been playing lights out.
Yeah, Pickler just flustered all around now, taking a couple sacks, throwing a couple poor balls, and now a 4th and 21. They really need to go for it, but as far as they are into their own zone, they have to punt this ball away.
Yeah, you can't go for it here at this particular point in time. I would love to see it. I love the aggressive mentality, but yeah, with this down and distance, you got to punt the football away. And that's what St. Louis does, as it's fair caught by Mark Lopez at the 47-yard line. So a yard better starting field position here for the Legion as they take over up 21.
And Mark Lopez there doing what any smart returner would do. Just fair catch that ball. He knows he's already in good field position. No reason to try to force a return there and potentially fumble the ball.
The Legion coming out with an offset eye. Sudo Nakai getting another hand. And this time he'll go down right away. The first tackler able to get him down, and that was Mark Gronek from his outside linebacker spot.
Yeah, Mark Gronek making sure that there's no chance for Sudo Nakai to break another one off there. Able to get to him and really tackle him where he folded at the hips and stop his legs from being able to move.
I think Vancouver will be content running this clock out a little bit here as Nakai gets another handoff. Nifty little juke move, and that'll give him just enough yardage for the first down. Tackle finally made out there by Todd Dubstat as he's able to get off his defensive line.
Yeah, as you kind of touched on, they're just going to run the ball a whole lot on these next few downs and run as much clock out as they can. But, how does that hurt them when Sudo Nakai has been playing the way that he has? They never know if they're going to hand this ball off and there's going to be another 7 points on the scoreboard.
Clock continuing to roll here, approaching 6 minutes as Pepper's going to throw, and I thought he completed it there for a hot second. Brett Killian not able to complete the catch, and it brings up second down.
Yeah, Nathan Blake played great pass defense there, was able to get his body position to block off that catch and then force Brett Killian to the ground so that he didn't have a chance to catch it off of a tip or anything.
We've seen a lot of big hits, big runs today. It's been a chilly day. It feels like 38 out here on the west side of Canada. And we've just seen a ton of great plays like that as Pepper airs it out and is complete over the middle to Phil Koss, as he's been very good as the second tight end option today.
And it's not very often that you see no defenders in the middle of the field like you did right there. All of them playing deep, expecting a deep ball by Tom Pepper, and he's able to make the easy throw to Phil Koss and get a first down.
Pepper in the gun, Nakai sidecar right. From the 22, 1st and 10. Pepper going to throw it out to a wide open wide receiver as the catch is made, and sliding out of bounds is Rich Pratchett as he gets a gain of 5.
And that's that quick out that offensive coordinators love to put into the playbook. As touched on earlier, it really sets up for an easy few yards. That one a gain of 5, and there was no real danger on that throw.
Pepper, same formation, has time, throws it over the middle again, another wide open receiver, but Craig Hearn had to come back to the ball, so he's not going to get the first down. In fact, I think he's going to lose a couple yards on that play.
It appeared that he went down right at the line of scrimmage, but yeah, I think Crane Hearn forgot what side of the football he was playing on for a minute, tried to take that one the other way.
Still fine for Vancouver. All they want to do is run some clock here as thrown into coverage and incomplete. Again, these head-scratching throws by Tom Pepper today make me very sweaty.
Yeah, Tom Pepper, just trying to give St. Louis a chance, it seems like, throwing these balls into risky situations. And that time, Brett Killian taken to the ground, kind of an unnecessary that Tom Pepper set up.
Well, and Freeman Peltier saw that the whole way. He broke on it as soon as he saw the ball thrown, and he had an opportunity to get that tip ball out to the house. So just very, very lucky for Vancouver in that situation there. But we'll see another field goal attempt for Rutkowski. He is 2 for 2 today, his third attempt. Good snap, good hold, and kick is up and through from 33 yards. So 37-13 now your score in favor of the hometown Legion as they are really pulling away here in this ballgame.
Yeah, it went from a 4-point game to a 24-point game in what seemed like a matter of minutes, really. And St. Louis now on the sidelines kind of scratching their heads trying to figure out what went wrong.
And again, we talked a lot about St. Louis's defense keeping them in the ball game, but Vancouver's defense has held St. Louis to 3 points in the second half. Only 3 points total. So hats off to them. They've been playing lights out today. Chase Earl is going to return the football out to the 28-yard line. And with 4:43 to go and 3 timeouts, St. Louis, it's close. It's close to being quitting time here.
Yeah, and St. Louis just trying to see if there's anything deep in the playbook. They're able to pull out something that teams haven't gotten a chance to see them do yet, and hoping that it'll put them on the board.
Pickler in the gun, takes the high snap. He's going to throw it quickly towards the far sideline, and that's caught by Nick Finch as he is able to get a gain of 4 on that play.
And those out routes are good to build confidence for the quarterback, but a little late to be trying to build up Johnny Pickler's confidence. It's kind of go time now for the Gladiators. They got to put the pedal to the metal and take some risks.
Yeah, certainly got to air it out, but we saw that a little bit on the last drive, Robert. It didn't look very pretty. A lot of pressure coming from this defensive line of Vancouver's. 2nd and 6 this time for Pickler. He's got pressure again. He's going to air it out. And really good play by Mark Lopez to prevent the catch because he had a wide receiver a couple yards in front of him.
Yeah, if he is able to get that ball up just a little bit higher, that was a good setup. The receiver would have gotten that ball. It would have been over Mark Lopez's hands. But Pickler throwing that ball a little too low and showing some of the struggles he's shown all game.
I formation with 4:35 to go here in the ball game. Vancouver blitz, backs out. Pickler in trouble. He's going to check it down to Diesel Dawson. He's got nowhere to go. Lincoln Kingseed Sr. was right there ready to hit him, and he'll lose a few yards. It's going to be 4th down.
Yeah, the Legion defense, has been playing incredibly well this game. If you look back through the setup and everything, all 13 of St. Louis's points have been special teams points. So the Legion defense doing what they've needed to, and it's really shown.
Pickler, nice throw and catch there as he's able to thread the needle to Nick Finch, pulls it off his knee pads and converts the first down on 4th down.
Yeah, Pickler doing whatever he could to get that ball out there to Nick Finch.
He's going to throw again. This time he's going to air it out into coverage and picked off. That's Lincoln Kingseed Sr. with his first interception today, and that will definitely seal the deal here in Vancouver.
Yeah, and on top of it, it sets Vancouver up with only 50 yards to go, being set up at midfield. Uh, and if it goes to show what we've seen so far this game, they might hand it off to Sudo Nakai and get another 50-yard touchdown. Who knows?
No kidding, right? I mean, it's just been that type of ball game for him. And, hats off to Sudo Nakai for just turning on that extra kind of switch there, that extra gear inside himself. And Andy Hamilton, the owner of the Vancouver Legion, said it in the chat earlier. Last week, Pseudo not playing well, Tom Pepper steps up. This week, Tom Pepper not playing well, Pseudo steps up. And he's still stepping up as he gets another first down run out to the 38-yard line of St. Louis.
Oh, man, leave it to a big hit that we've seen all game to save what could have been another potential touchdown. Pseudo Nakai looking to break out, but they're able just to put a shoulder on the football, try to force a fumble, and take Pseudo down to the ground in the meantime.
Yeah, Nathan Blake, he'll make those big time hits as well. I saw it several times when he was across the pond in London, and I'm sure he is making those big hits here as we saw with the Gladiators. But Vancouver certainly content just letting this clock run out. Pepper doing a good job letting it creep inside of 10. Now down to 5. He'll take the snap and throw. Short throw, though, as he's got Koss over the middle of the field, and close to a gain of 10, second and inches.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking that Vancouver is still trying to this late in the game. But, other than the 3 interceptions, Tom Pepper has been fairly solid this game. 24 completions, 38 attempts for 258 yards. So using his arm to an advantage to kind of complement the Pseudo Nakai just running speed and everything.
We'll see one more play here before the 2-minute warning. And it will be a handoff to Pseudo Nakai as he follows blockers and moves ahead to the 26-yard line, which will move those chains once again.
Yeah, and you really got to applaud what fullback Delaney Nash has been able to do this game for Pseudo Nakai, setting up really good blocks and helping Nakai to get his 3 touchdowns.
2 minutes to go here in the ball game before Vancouver moves to 6-0. You're watching the Simulation Foot. And speaking of YouTube, follow the SFL on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and more, all at simulationfl.com, as St. Louis will burn their first time out after a gain of 3 there. Looks like the second unit is going to be in the ball game here for for Vancouver.
Yeah, that was Myron Jackson Jr., the backup running back. And you could kind of tell off the bat it wasn't Kai. The speed just wasn't there on the off-tackle run, but still able to gain a good 3 yards to keep the clock ticking.
Make sure to catch more content like the Kramer Show, game highlights, and more by subscribing to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment of the action when we're not on TV, which will be coming up later on this afternoon, 3 Eastern, 2 Central. We've got the Las Vegas Fury traveling to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Tyrants. That game will be on 11 Sports and for the fans, so be sure to stay tuned for that as we wrap up things here in Vancouver. St. Louis burning their second timeout. They'll have 1 remaining. Brings up a 3rd down. Minute 54 to go as Pepper's under center. So he'd be the backup quarterback. Obviously, the second unit is in. Pepper wouldn't be that, but it's still a first down for Vancouver as they move chains.
And that ball there was thrown to Rich Pratchard, this time on an inside post route rather than that out gone with all game. And it seemed to work as it confused the St. Louis defense enough to get that catch.
So hats off to Mark Salt for getting in there and completing a pass. Extending the drive once again. St. Louis now with no other way to stop the clock, so that will bring up the victory formation for the Legion as they move to 6-0 going into week 7. And coming up on next week for both of these teams, Vancouver will bring their undefeated record to Las Vegas as they take on the Fury in Sin City at Silver State Stadium. Meanwhile, the St. Louis Gladiators falling to 2-4. They will have a tough test as they travel to the Midwest to take on, well, they travel a little bit over towards the western part of the country. I'm bad with geography. They're traveling to Chicago. They're taking on the.
Yeah, and St. Louis looks to figure out their issues on the road with that game in Chicago. Going to be a really tough task for them, but they're looking to see what they can do as Pickler continues to be shaky on the road as he has been all season.
Yeah, and that's very good point, and we pointed it out several times today, Rob. I think that's one of the things that's kind of holding St. Louis back maybe a little bit, but there's plenty of potential there for Johnny Pickler. So I don't think it's one of those panic button type of things. It's just that he's got to learn, he's got to grow.
Yeah, and we talk about just Johnny Pickler there, but really it's been the entire St. Louis offense. Diesel Dawson with 2 touchdowns on the road for away games. That is all 14 of the total offensive points when it comes to St. Louis on the road. The rest have been special teams points. So really that offense just struggling to get going when they're in hostile environments, and it showed again today.
Yeah, but shoot, Diesel Dawson did his best today. He had over 150, 77 through the air, 89 on the ground as whistle blows, and Vancouver comes away with a 24-point win. But honestly, hats off to St. Louis. They played a great ball game. Just in the second half, it was too much Sudo Nakai.
Yeah, Sudo Nakai was pretty much the dagger that ended St. Louis for this game, especially with 2 second half touchdowns of over 50 yards that really shocked everyone. And I'm sure St. Louis's defense was on the sidelines arguing with their coach, trying to figure out what they could do to stop it.
As we get a look at the final game stats and highlights here. And again, Diesel Dawson did a great job for St. Louis, but as you pointed out, Robert, he was their whole offense. There really wasn't anything else for St. Louis to really work with the exception of the Chase Earl return touchdown.
Yeah, and we talked a lot during the game about how Tom Pepper wasn't playing all that well, but really 25 completions, 39 attempts, 267 yards, and a touchdown. There were the 3 interceptions there, but a couple of them off of tips and just really lucky plays. So Tom Pepper did his best as he has all season.
And just plenty of people that we can highlight here for play of the game. Obviously, Sudo Nakai just went bananas, especially in the second half. Leah Dama had 3 sacks today and now has the Vancouver record. So it's one of those things that you just gotta let, who do we pick here?
Yeah, there's a lot of options. You also have Rich Pratchard, 7 receptions, 112 yards, averaging 16 yards of reception. So just a very good target for Tom Pepper all game, hitting those corners.
Yeah, 100%. As we get a look at the final interception that probably sealed the deal here by Lincoln Kingseed Sr., just Johnny on the spot right there, picking off Johnny Pickler. And then Mark Saltz with the icing on the cake, basically able to thread the needle to Rich Pratchard.
Yeah, Mark Salt, you could say, was rubbing some salt in the wounds. That final throw set up first down and really let the clock be able to run out.
And that was all she wrote. As we get a look at the player of the game, it is Sudo Nakai. 18 attempts, 244 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, also tacking on 23 yards in the air. On behalf of my team here at the Simulation Football League, we want to thank you guys for tuning into this presentation on YouTube of the Simulation Football League. Robert Garrett Jr. has been my analyst here today. I've been your play-by-play commentator, and want to thank both Alan and Tom Rahman for helping out in the Stats Truck today. Stay tuned. Once again, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, live on 11 Sports and For the Fans. You'll see the Las Vegas Fury take on the Seattle Tyrants. Thank you guys for everything, and we'll see you later this afternoon.